So the first round of cleaning in the parts washer is complete. There's a lot of heavy grease and stuff all over this thing, and it took a serious amount of scrubbing, but it came out pretty good. The next step is I'm going to go over it with some degreaser and wash it that way and rinse it with water and just set it out on my outside workbench in the sun to dry. I'm not worried about flash rust because this time of year our humidity runs 8 to 10%. I mean, you can literally watch water evaporate right off of it in seconds. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see I scraped out a pretty good chunk of heavy grease. What I can't figure out, see all that? Those are needle bearings. They were all embedded in the heavy grease inside the vise crevices and all of that. So at one time or another, somebody had a bearing in the vise they were working on, and it probably came apart out of the cage and disappeared into the bowels of the vise and turned into a greasy mess. There's no needle bearings in this vise. There's no bearings at all. What I did have to do, there was a 1/2 inch round bar hinge that held this together, and there was no way I could get down inside of these recesses with the vise put together. So I don't know if this is just regular old hot rolled or cold rolled round bar mild steel, or if it's hardened. I'll have to test it. I'll give it the file test, just scrape a file across it, and if it skips, I know it's hardened, and if the file bites, I know that it's regular mild steel. Either way, I have both in stock. I've got some mild steel round bar, and I've got some really long 1/2 inch bolts, at least grade 5, with hardened shanks on them, that if I need to make a new pin, I'll use those materials, whichever this one turns out to be, and make a new pin to hold these together. I have a theory. YouTuber The Salvage Workshop did a video series on restoring one of these cold vices a while back. If I can find his video, I will leave a link in the description. But he did some extensive research and couldn't find much about this coal vice company. I think he came to the conclusion that they weren't in business very long. They didn't survive. I have a theory as to why. This is all cast iron, every bit of it. And the casting is only about 3/8 of an inch thick. And I think in heavy industry and in blacksmithing and whatever else, these just didn't hold up to heavy use. I think they were prone to breakage because in those days, 90, 100 years ago, heavy industry, blacksmiths, machinists, etc., were used to vices like this, the old heavy-duty post vise. And these, this is heavy casting, heavy forgings. And you could put heavy work in these things and wail on them and give them all kinds of abuse. They wouldn't break. They held up just fine to heavy work. It's on an industrial scale. I don't think these coal vices could handle that. With cast iron only 3/8 of an inch thick with heavy work and heavy hammering, man, I think they busted left and right. And I personally, that's just my opinion, my conjecture, I think that's why the coal vice company didn't survive. Could be another reason. Could have just been poor management and they went under. But I'm guessing, based on my industrial experience during my working life, I'm kind of betting that these guys failed. Could be wrong. Who knows? Doesn't really matter. Anyway, so yeah, enough of that.